Hi, this is Jim from Slick Audio. Today we're going to demonstrate our Slick Audio R4000 audio PC along with Presonus's brand new Quantum interface. And it is a Thunderbolt interface, and we're going to show you some performance tests. So I'm going to get right to it, and we're going to show you some performance tests. The first track we're playing is actually a demo track on Studio One called Fat Funk, and that is basically the song we're working on. So what we want to do is try to break or see the performance levels, I should say, of this computer. So this has 53 tracks, 65 active plugins, and 3 VIs, virtual instruments. Hit play. So we are running now, as you can see here on the screen, we're running a block size of 16 samples. So the song was recorded at 44.1 32-bit. And we are getting an input latency of 0.54 milliseconds and an output latency of 0.73 milliseconds. That's pretty killer. And you can see our performance on our machine is 15, 16, 17, and disk is hovering at between 0 and 4%. So as you can see, the machine's just blowing through this without any issues at all. I'll drop this down to 32 samples so you can see it on the fly here. And you can see now we're running 0.91 millisecond at 44.1. This is 32 sample block size now, and a 1.09 millisecond output latency. Again, now our CPU has basically not changed, and our disk really hasn't changed at all. So now as we go up in samples, of course, it gets easier on the computer. So I'm going to, at this point, cut, and we're going to try to up the ante, and we're going to go to a different sample. We now have a project that took the original Fat Funk song and I quadrupled it. So this is 212 tracks, 260 active plugins, and 12 virtual instruments active. So you can see we're running at 32 sample block size. I'm still getting an input latency of 0.91, output latency of 1.09. CPU is running pretty steady around 44, 45%, 43%. And disk, of course, is pulsating between 0 and, spiking up to 30, 35. And that's obviously reading data. So as you can see, this thing handles without a problem. If I jump this up to 40 or 64 samples, my apologies, which getting to a project this size, may be a little bit more realistic. You can still see we're now running 1.63 milliseconds of input latency and 1.81 milliseconds of output latency, which is still very respectable, very usable. And we're running in that 40%, you have to let it settle out a little bit, but, basically it's almost the same performance. One more jump to 128, just so you can see that, which is, again, what most folks are running in between 32, 64, 128. So we're running 3.08 millisecond now, 3.27 millisecond out. 308, by the way, was input latency, sorry. And you can see we're still running in that, 40% CPU, if you will, late 30, upper 30s, sorry. And disk is still pulsating from 0 to about 34. So very respectable numbers. So now I'm going to take it one better. We're going to double this. So this is doubled, as I said before. This is 424 tracks, 520 active plugins, and 24 active virtual instruments. That's a pile of tracks. That's a pile of plugins, pile of instruments. And I am running at 32 samples. So again, 0.91 millisecond in, and out is 1.09. CPU's running about 44, 45%, pretty steady. Just saw a peak to 46. And disk is running again between 0 and 40%. Not bad, not bad. That's some incredible performance. If I jump up to 64 samples on this, changes. So again, now we have 1.63 input latency, 1.81 latency going out. And as it settles out here, CPU is in that around the 50%, 40%. It's adjusting as we've just changed sample rates. So yeah, we're about 44% again. CPU and disk is now between 0 and 36, 37. Actually, it's where it's peaking at now. So if I jump one more time to 128, again, the silence is deafening in between. But here we go. So now we're at 3.08 milliseconds input, output 3.27, and we're running pretty steady at 42%, 41%, 38%. CPU disk is running between 0 and 36, like we saw before. So phenomenal performance, and now I'm going to take it one last time. We're going to double this and go to an unbelievable number of tracks and plugins and VI. Now I've really kind of maxed the project out to 848 tracks, 1,040 active plugins, and 48 active VIs. Now the VIs, mind you, are not frozen. So if we froze them, we could definitely do way better than this. The whole idea is I'm trying to stress the box, stress the unit, stress everything, and see what she's capable of doing. So we are running at 128 samples. And that's giving us roughly 6.25 millisecond round trip time, we're running up in that 70%, and disk is peaking a little bit, and then coming down as it's caching, but definitely very usable. And if I move it to 256 samples, it would even be obviously more usable, and that will give us we're now dropped down to 54%, and disk of course is going to move because it's still reading VIs. I mean, that's the way it caches VIs, and every DAW does that. So anyways, so now we're running 5.99 mils in and 6.17 out. So as that's you can definitely hear over 10. But when you start getting into projects this large, one would think that you're definitely going to be freezing some tracks. So, hey, we proved that we could stress the box. We proved that we could stress the unit. It sounds phenomenal. Love it. Awesome stuff. You saw some amazing results using Presonus Studio 1.3, latest version. Presonus Quantum Thunderbolt interface, their new interface, connected to the Slick Audio R4000 audio PC. We had absolutely amazing results out of it, from performance, audio quality, etc. So for more information, you can contact Presonus, or you can contact Slick Audio, www.slick.audio, or give us a shout, 570-371-5800, and we'll be glad to tell you more about either product. And we hope you enjoyed this and found it informative. Thank you much.